welcome to a rant and a ride, and we're in far eastern Miami-Dade County, down by the old quarries, headed south to Homestead proper, east of the Air Force Base, east of the Speedway. And old country road, and I am joined by our friend Nico Jones. To Spanish speakers, Nico Jones. And we're going to talk a little Rasslin, professional Rasslin. Back in the Gordon Soley days of championship wrestling in Florida, when back when wrestling was real, as they say, when they had to sell the sport. So take it away, Nico.
Good old days, Gordon Soley. Before Vince McMahon and the bullshit. Yeah.
We're gonna dedicate this to Larry Sutton, better known as Sir Oliver Humperdink, the Rooster. And this is an ominous video, but if you were to see Nico here, he has a strange resemblance to the Rooster.
Hey.
There were no Hollywood writers back then making up the storylines. Wrestlers and the bookers, promoters that did it themselves, and they sold it themselves. And you really had to promote yourself and your gig, or be out of work. Nobody there to do it for you.
Had to provide your own transportation to get to the matches.
And the Florida promotion, Eddie Graham, he was so much into kayfabe that if you were feuding with an opponent, you can ride in the same car with him. You can even go to the same restaurant. That's hardcore for you.
Babyface and heels were never caught together in the street.
Yeah, now we know the terminology. Back then it was good guys, bad guys. You know, what they call the jobbers now were the pushovers.
No big multi-million-dollar contracts. Some of these guys were making what, like $25 a match on the house show or something?
Yep. No chartered jets. Actually, no, very little airline travel. Most of it was done by road, cars, up and down Highway 41, Florida Turnpike, I-95.
Old beat-up station wagon with like 10 wrestlers squeezed in there.
Yep. Let's give this guy some room to turn. The schedule was kind of grueling. It was Sunday in Orlando, Sunday afternoon, and sometimes Sunday night would be another town. Sometimes it would do split cards. Monday was West Palm Beach, Tuesday Tampa, Wednesday Miami, Thursday Jacksonville, Friday Fort Lauderdale, Saturday Big Show St. Pete, and other places like Daytona and Immokalee and all that were done on split cards on any given day.
Avon Park.
Jacksonville shows sometimes has some of the Georgia wrestlers, the Andersons and all that on them. And the Miami card sometimes had wrestlers from the WWF or other promotions on them. And I forgot on what day was the television taping. That was back in Tampa too.
I think that might have been on Tuesday afternoon.
Kind of makes sense.
Because I think they would do the Tuesday afternoon show, or sometimes Wednesday morning, and then they would take off to Miami.
Do the show,
The Sportatorium in Tampa.
drink a pint of liquor to soothe the pain down, pop some pills, and start driving to Miami. And do it all over again.
Dusty Rhodes was the booker back then a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time.
Dusty Rhodes, Eddie Graham.
Kevin Sullivan. Good old days when you could go watch wrestling for $3.
Yep, general admission $3. Reserve $4, ringside $5.
And sometime if the world champion was there, championship prices were in effect, would be an extra $1.
And the extra $1 went to the champion. The champion did have to do some air travel.
Yep, champions like Ric Flair, Harley Race, Terry Funk,
Yep.
Dory Funk Jr.
For a brief time, Jack Briscoe.
Yep, 7 Jack Briscoe held it for a while.
And the Miami show was a Chris Dundee sports presentation. They always open it up with the Chris Dundee sports presentation of, and the guy will flip his card and say, read it real carefully, say professional wrestling. It was all a gig, of course.
Supposedly Chris Dundee was the brother of Angelo Dundee, the manager and trainer of Muhammad Ali, and many other famous boxers back in the day.
By the way, we're traveling on 344th Street, Palm Drive. We're just west of the Turkey Point nuclear plant. Headed to Florida City. Then after the presentation, everybody will stand up for the national anthem, as they pronounced it then. It was an old squeaky record, and they played the national anthem.
Tinny sounded PA system.
Yep, ring the bell, and here's the first match of the day. Beauregard, Mike Hammer, Gordon Nelson, or usually Don Serrano, the Great Mephisto.
Back when wrestling matches had time limits.
Yep.
They had that timekeeper with a bell watching every second go by. Ding, ding.
That bell sometimes ended up in somebody's head, but then you have the mid-card with people like Charlie Cook and whoever they were trying to promote at the time.
Tiger Conway Jr.
Pride of Lakeland, Florida, Bubba Douglas. The Pride of Ponce, Puerto Rico, Don Serrano, who I don't think he ever won a match, but and Beauregard.
I think he even took a city bus to get to the matches sometimes.
The OK Bus.
No limousines back then, people. No tour buses.
Trying to get around. Oh, it's 2 trucks of them.
Get into it.
Wow.
Dooley, too.
I could take him, but I won't. To the right, we have the Homestead Speedway, the Miami Homestead Speedway. Glad that truck passed us that way. If there's anybody running radar in front of us, they'll take the beat for me.
Yeah, man. They have the NASCAR champions every year.
Yep. Right now they're doing ride-alongs where for a fee you get to ride in a NASCAR car with a certified driver. They do that twice a year. And this is where Speedway Boulevard merges to Palm Drive. A lot of people say that in wrestling the blood was fake. It wasn't. Fake blood just runs out like sweat. It was a real cut. Some of the wrestlers took aspirin before the match so the blood wouldn't clot and they could bleed more.
They had names for those blades back then. Swords, blades, different names. They were really cuts, not fake vampire blood, as was once thought.
What was the old saying? Red means green.
All right, Abdullah.
You cut yourself, you get more money.
And man, they used to bleed back then, especially Dusty Rhodes, many of the old timers like that.
Terry Funk.
Funk, yeah. Joe LeDuc.
Look at their foreheads, they look like road maps.
Some of them still got their scars today. So they were cuts, it wasn't fake.
Sometimes they go a little overboard. I think it was Dusty Rhodes almost poked his eye out one time. Okay, Rescue 65, you got the right of way. Homestead High School, all right.
The list of great wrestlers back then was incredible. We had Dick Slater, Bob Roop, Black Jack Mulligan, Barry Windham,
The Ortons.
Dusty Rhodes, the Andersons. There's a few of them.
I think Dusty Rhodes one time almost poked his eye out.
Don Morocco, aka the Magnificent One.
Magnificent M. Don Morocco.
Kevin Sullivan, Magnum TA, the original Road Warriors, the original Legion, Pocket Animal.
Steve Kern, before he became, Gator or something in the WWF? That's when McMahon started ruining wrestling.
Yeah, what was the tag team? He had a partner for a while, Stan Lane or something?
Yeah,
what were they called?
The Fabulous Ones.
Back in the early to mid 80s. Rick Rude in his younger days.
You go on YouTube, you look up videos of the Fabulous Ones, you would say, damn, they look so gay.
Billy Jack Haynes, another class from the past.
Another character.
Dick Murdoch.
Is he Billy Jack in jail now or something like that? Not sure.
Yeah, he was always in and out of jail.
No, Blackjack Mulligan went to jail with the Sons.
Counterfeiting money. Kendall Windham went to federal prison back in the early 90s. Bobby Duncombe Jr., who passed away in the late 90s.
He looked just like his dad.
Yeah.
A little bigger.
Promising. He had an injury and had a little bout with some painkillers, and that was the end of that. He had a good future ahead of him. Big guy.
Painkillers, they took a lot of wrestlers. When you think of what they did, bouncing off the mat, bouncing off each other night after night, easier to understand how you can get addicted to those
Flying
things.
10, 15 feet over the top rope, landing on the concrete floor.
All that was real, folks. You can say that the end of the match was scripted and predetermined, but they sold the sport.
And the chairs were not fake.
The chairs were not fake. Now they are. Now they got all kind of Hollywood props.
Harley Race, that was another tough guy.
Oh yeah, he still is.
We could sit here and name them off for hours. All the old timers. Von Erichs, Fabulous Freebirds, Four Horsemen.
A correction, earlier I said that was Homestead High School. To our right it was, and Homestead High School is, we just passed it. 167th Avenue. And the late great Ox Baker.
Ox Baker.
Uncle Doug.
Rest his soul, yeah. Ox Baker's carry-out service.
Stretcher. Ox Baker stretcher service.
I like to hurt people. Haystacks Calhoun.
I was at Bob Root one time, lost because Bob Root was always associated in Florida with the Ordens. Either Orden Jr. or Orden Sr. They were inseparable. If one was wrestling a single match and the other one was at ringside. And he lost a loser leaves town match to, I think, Steve Kern. And all of a sudden the Ordens had a new partner. Some places he was known as King Cobra and others Super Gladiator. And he had borrowed the attire from Bob Root. All red, white, and blue. But he had a mask on. That was funny.
I used to love those loser leaves town matches. They always come back with a different name, like Barry Windham. He was the Yellow Dog when he came back.
Dusty Rose, the Midnight Rider.
Midnight Rider.
Terry Funk, the Ace of Spade.
Good old days. Back when they suspended people for 30 days. Who's that guy, Bob Geigel or something?
Yeah. President of the NWA.
Yeah, we're mostly talking NWA people. Especially in the South Florida area.
Before McMahon ruined it all.
Yeah. Back when you used to get fined and suspended for using brass knuckles or foreign objects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now it's nothing. You just do what you want. The wrestlers are more like cartoon characters.
Yep. And it was an insult when McMahon started changing wrestlers' name when he brought in the promotion. Like, nobody knew that the Gator was Steve Kern, and he wasn't really yet. He didn't act like somebody out of the movie Deliverance.
Yeah. Dusty Rhodes was what, Americana?
Americana, wearing the silly costume with a yellow polka dots. I know those guys did it for money, but that was an embarrassment. To this day, I boycott all WWE.
Oh, yeah. Turned it into a circus show. Who can forget Roddy Piper? Huh?
Yeah, Roddy Piper. Now that's another one that sold his own gig and had great mic skills. Anybody remembers Lucha Libre from California, the California promotion, and Roddy Piper and Chavo Guerrero and
Victor Rivera,
the Red Devils. And one time Roddy Piper was a referee, and that was funny. They put a mic on him with the bad guy was getting pinned. He'll count 1, 2, then he scratches his ass or something and forget to count 3. Oh, that's a smoke truck in front of us.
Also, the days of the great managers we were talking about earlier. Sir Oliver Humperdink, Gary Hart's Army,
Sonny King, the Black Kojak.
Missing some. They had some good ones up north too. Freddie Blassie,
the
Captain
Grand
Lou
Wizard.
Albano.
Now, don't get me wrong. McMahon Sr. was a wonderful promoter.
Oh, the old WWE or WWE.
WWF, Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Bruno Sammartino and Tony Gurria and Pedro Morales.
Superstar Billy Graham.
Yep. Larry Zbyszko.
Ken Patera.
That's another one. And the Polish Hammer, Ivan Putski. And then the big guys, Blackjack Mulligan, Stan Hansen,
Blackjack Lanza.
Naturally big dudes. No time to work out for them. They were just big.
Big ex-NFL offensive linemen.
Yep.
Usually from Texas or somewhere.
Even if they weren't from Texas, they build themselves from Texas.
Yeah.
Remember the Andersons? None of them were brothers.
It's weird. They looked alike though.
Yep. This video's gone on long enough, and we reminisce about wrestling and dedicated it to the great managers, especially Sir Oliver Humperdink.
Rest in peace, Humperdink. The Rooster.
He'll never be forgotten. Now, that's a guy who loved wrestling. If you read about him, he loved wrestling. He loved the sport. He didn't have the size to be a wrestler or the physical abilities, but he did everything else. And he would do anything from set up a ring to book a match. He did it all.
The House of Humperdink.
He passed away how long ago? Not too far.
2000 something?
Yeah.
Died in Key West, Florida.
Yeah.
In hospice.
Rest in peace, Rooster. It's 77 degrees and we're in Florida City, and I'm out. Woo!